We are ready to rock the Music City today. The ARCA Remax 200 from the Nashville Super Speedway. 39 drivers strapped in and ready for the command to get this party started.
Ladies and gentlemen, with the most famous words in motorsports, Mr. Philip Hayes from the Pepsi Bottling Company.
Drivers, start your engines.
Today, it's about the guitar. One of the most unique prizes in motorsports, the trophy at Nashville. And today, rookie Erin Crocker may have her best chance yet at her first ARCA Remax Series win. First time here, she stole the pole and led until a mistake. Will it be Crocker's day, or will fellow rookie Joey Miller be the one who rocks the house? 41 drivers square off of the guitar right now, live on Speed.
By all standards and per the rule book, Joey Miller is a true blue ARCA Remax Series rookie. But by the numbers, he really looks more like a veteran. And only his 18th series start here, he's already won 3 times. He's led the most laps here, 655 to Frank Kimmel's 511, and now his 5th Pork Pole Award of the year, his 4th out of the last 5. And guess what, gang? He's pretty good at Nashville Super Speedway as well. He won in his series debut here last year from 2 laps down and finished 2nd in the spring. For all of those reasons and more, he's very confident he'll be the guy in victory lane. To Wendy Venerini.
Everham Motorsports development driver Erin Crocker makes her 5th ARCA start here in Nashville. Remember, she started her ARCA career back in March right at this track. She started on the pole and finished 12th that day. Well, folks, she qualified 3rd, and that's partially because she had an early qualifying draw, which probably hurt her run. But regardless, she's starting 3rd, and 6 of the last 9 winners here at Nashville have started from the 3rd spot or higher. Erin Crocker's definitely the one to watch today, folks.
Wendy, it is hot and sweaty in Nashville today. I'm Bob Dillner. Alongside of me is former ARCA competitor Dan Pardis. Man, this one is going to be a goodie today at Nashville for the ARCA Remax Series. 151 laps will be the distance. Some of the keys here, though, one of them in particular, that pit window, 65 to 75 laps. Some people talking about 1 pit stop, some people 2, and maybe even 3, depending on how the cautions fly. Now, folks, since the last time we were on Speed Channel, there has been another race. Let's get you up to speed. To the Lake Erie Speedway just last week in Northeast Pennsylvania, the King, Richard Petty, visiting with another King, King Kimmel from the ARCA Remax Series. And Kimmel and the young guy, Joey Miller, duking it out early in this race. Both guys have been so good on all tracks this year, but trouble for the 2nd place point man Miller. He breaks, and that may spoil his title shot against Frank Kimmel, who went on to pick up his 5th victory of the year for the Advanced Auto Parts number 46 team here in ARCA. It is a hot and sticky day, as I mentioned, and that will be a key factor here today. 89 degrees, but 104 the heat index. Danny, what is that going to mean for the drivers here today?
Well, it's so important, Bob. Driver conditioning is so important, and dehydration. You need to start drinking water. It doesn't start an hour before the race. It started yesterday morning. Drink, drink, drink. Yes, trips to the bathroom. Drink, drink, drink. Trips to the bathroom. But it's so important when we're out here in this race today.
Well, let's cut right to the chase and look at the Remax starting lineup here. The grid for the ARCA Remax 200. Joey Miller on the pole, as we mentioned, and the 6-time champion Frank Kimmel on the outside. Wendy mentioned Erin Crocker starts 3rd, and how about Kyle Krisloff in that 4th starting spot?
Kyle's confident. His 2nd time back here in Nashville. He feels real good about it. He didn't like this racetrack, but he says, man, I got a grip on it now, so he feels real good about the race here today.
See Danny O'Quinn and David Reagan there in row number 4, and then Chad McCumbee, who's been strong as of late in that Andy Hillenberg car. 3 straight top 5 finishes for the rookie.
Talk to Chad. He's got that momentum rolling. He's just had some bad luck. Mechanical problems. He's been in contention, been in the top top 5, so hopefully he can have all that behind him, get that monkey off his shoulder day, and have a good run here at Nashville.
Mike Garrity right there. He's another development driver for the Dodge program. Former Rookie of the Year Bill Eversole and Mike Harmon out of Alabama in row number 11. Bobby Gerhardt won at Daytona. He's in row number 13. And Norm Betting way back there in that number 84 car.
A lot of experience there. Norm's been around this place, but he says, Dan, I just need to be there at the end and have a good finish. There's good James Hilton there in 18. Talk about experience, huh?
He's like 70-something years old, isn't he?
That's what he told me, 70 plus.
Ricky Gonzalez rounds out the field here in ARCA. And we are just moments away from the start of this one here. We got plenty of onboard cameras for you as well here today. The Booty Beer car for Andy Belmont and his favorite artist, since we are in the Music City, Jimmy Buffett.
All right.
Gotta love that.
Yes, sir.
Going on board with our next car, we go from Andy Belmont to the Hans Group car for Mike Garrity. We go from Jimmy Buffett to little Stevie Ray Vaughan. You gotta like Mike Garrity's taste right there. And age 27 starts 16th here today. And then this is probably one of the most diverse music selections. Talking about Johnny Leonard in the Boca Bay Builders car. He said 50 Cent, the rapper, is his favorite. I like Eminem, folks, for all of you who care. But going on actually here to Ken Weaver, the 1-800-4A phone car. Ken had a great run here last year at Nashville and also had a pretty good run in the springtime here. He'll start 5th. His favorite artist, I've never even heard of him, Mark Cohn. I must be too young. But And then, of course, the Kingpin, Frank Kimmel, starting on the outside pole. Everybody wants to know who he likes best. He's got a lot of friends in low places.
Oh, Garth. Yeah, you can't pick a better one than that. The king of country music.
Your favorite, Denny?
Yeah, I like Garth. I really do.
There you go. All right, we'll go down to Don Radebaugh, who's got more on one of those up-and-coming drivers, Chad McCumbee.
Yeah, Bob, what a solid season for Chad McCumbee. And you know they do it with only 3 cars. And if you take Daytona and Talladega out of the mix, just 2 cars. An intermediate car, they adjust from track to track to track, and a short track car. They've been good on the long runs. Andy Hillenberg, the car owner, says they're really, really good on long runs. He's hoping for those today. Chad McCumbee coming off 3 straight top 5 finishes. This rookie, who is 4th in points, is really, really pumped up. Wendy.
Thanks. We were talking about fuel mileage not too long ago. Bob, you were mentioning when are the cars going to pit? Well, I talked to a lot of the crew chiefs here on pit road today, and it sounds like they can go 70 to 73 laps, but they're definitely going to pit before them. Who's going to have the right strategy? We don't know for sure, but I talked to Chris Andrews, crew chief for Aaron Crocker, and he said we might possibly pull off a 3-stop race, 3 short pit stops, but it all depends how quickly that caution come out. We could see Aaron Crocker come to pit road as soon as lap 60.
15 races already in the books for the ARCA REMAX Series. Frank Kimmel is your point leader, and in 15 races, he has 15 top 10 finishes. That is incredible. Jason Jarrett in the 25 car is 9th in points there. I say, how about a good run by Brandon Knupp and that independent team there out of Ohio in 7th in points here. He ran 4th here the last time we were at Nashville, folks. We are coming to the green, and Danny, you know what time it is, right?
Time to tighten the belts in. What else?
All right, folks. It's time here in Nashville to hold on to your lug nuts. It's time to go racing. Side-by-side action in the middle of the pack, but right now Joey Miller got the jump at the start.
Great run there, great jump for Joey. He's got real good Matt Hagen's horsepower motors under the hood of that race car. So important to get single file here at Nashville. You want to be on the bottom of this racetrack because that's where all the grip is. Don't want to be up in that second groove this early in the game.
You know, let's talk about Joey Miller a little bit because Don alluded to this in his open of the show as we see a couple of cars there do battle here. That's a 23 car out of Saudi Daisy, Tennessee. That is Ron Cox, and Ron has been having a good run since coming out of semi-retirement.
Great run for Ron. Talked to him earlier today. He said, man, we made some changes on the car. We must have really hit the setup because I'm real excited about it.
You see the 35 car there, David Odell, and David had a great run at Lanier earlier this year in that 35 car, was running for the lead when he had some problems late in the race. He has really turned some heads here this weekend.
He really has. For the little bit of ARCA race he's run, this is his second ARCA race. That car that he's in is an ex-Richard Childress car. He's got a good car underneath him. It's a new team out of Georgia, and again, they run the short tracks there in Georgia a lot. Late models, trucks, legend cars. So he says, man, we put together a crew of Georgia guys from Lanier Speedway. We came up here and we're going to do some ARCA racing. And they've been turning some heads. You're right, Bob.
Possible trouble for the Boca Bay Builders team. Maybe not trouble, but he got in the wrong groove on the outside. Faded back a little bit, did the 50-cent star for Johnny Leonard.
Yep, fell back to 19th place there, unfortunately. Maybe just got a little out of that bottom groove. Again, you need to stay down on the bottom of the racetrack this early in the game. This track will pick up a second groove later in the day, but here at Nashville, you need to stay on the bottom this early. As you see Joey Miller drive down to the bottom of the racetrack when he enters the corner there, that's really where you want to be this early in the game. He drives way down to the apron there, Bob. Just, you know, like most racetracks, but here at Nashville, especially because it's concrete, you get up in that second groove, it gets really slick up there.
I want to talk a little bit more about Joey Miller because he has really progressed. I've seen him in the ASA series, in the NASCAR Touring series, and local late model action. He has never been as good as he is this year. He has matured as a driver, and I think two key factors in that, besides his dad's money, who actually funds the team, is the Hagens Racing team, as well as Kevin Sawinski, the three-time ASA champ that has coached him all year long.
You're exactly right, Bob. You've seen him race. You've seen him in the ASA. You've worked with him for years, and I talked to Matt Hagens earlier today, and he brought Kevin over. He said, Kevin, why have we progressed so strong? He said, what's your opinion? He said, I'm going to give you my opinion. And Matt said that, and Kevin agreed, that it's just, Kevin is also a driver. They relate. They've come to communicate rather well, and it just make that machine that much stronger, and they've done really well here today.
The last four races for Joey Miller have been feast or famine, though. Check that out. Berlin first, Pocono 34th. After having a very strong car there, had some engine problems. Went to Gateway, won that race. And then last weekend, the mechanical problems, another engine at Lake Erie. And I spoke to Kevin Sawinski, and I said, Kevin, how is Joey? A little bit disappointed, kind of disturbed about last week, because that bolt right there at Lake Erie might have taken him out of the championship hunt. And he said, to tell you the truth, no, Joey's the one that has kept me up this year as we have trouble on the track. We mentioned Brandon Knupp, one of the up-and-comers here in the ARCA REMAX series. Well, looks like he hit the wall just a little bit here in turn number 2, brings out the first caution of the day.
Brandon fires it up, looks like he's back underway. Not sure if he made heavy contact with the wall. Hopefully he'll be okay, can take 4 tires and get back underway.
We knew it was going to come early here because this is one tough racetrack, a cement palace here at the Nashville Super Speedway in Lebanon, Tennessee. We'll be back with more green flag action when we return. Up in that 96 car, hit the wall to bring out our first caution of the day, and we do have a replay for you. Brandon Knupp now scored in the 35th spot, finished 4th here in the springtime. Danny, take me through it.
Just drives down and gets down on that yellow line, that apron, knocks the car loose. He's got input in the steering wheel to the left, and unfortunately just turns around. He did the right thing. He had Mark Gibson on the outside. Really didn't hurt the car bad there. He can come in and get tires, make some adjustments, get back underway, and hopefully be competitive.
Brandon Knupp started 17th in this race, but as Danny said, a good idea to keep that car pinched down and not get up into the veteran Mark Gibson. Still some debris on the racetrack here, possibly from that 96 car who hit the wall in turn number 2. But what do you think so far? Joey Miller up front. We see the 96 car there, but Joey Miller really showing some dominance early on, even though we're only just a few laps into this race.
The car looks awesome. You know, it's got great downforce numbers. The car works real good on these super speedways. Great motor underneath the hood. And right now, they're all just trying to get single file. As a driver, you want to get single file, give it some 40 or 50 laps, feel your car out, feel what it's going to do in the long runs, then make that last pit stop adjustment there, some 50 laps to go or so, and hopefully be there at the end. But he's really, really looking strong this early in the game, Bob.
Don, what's up with the top duo?
Well, not a whole lot, but they are both very happy with the handles on their race cars, although they're different. Joey Miller is complaining that his car is a little too free. They want to tighten that up somehow with air pressure adjustment, they say, on the next stop, where Frank Kimmel is a little tight through the center of the corner. So obviously, Pardis, those guys started out with different adjustments.
You see inside Frank Kimmel's Advance Auto Parts number 46. The King is strapped in, ready to do battle here. We'll have green flag action when we come back. Going green this time by Joey Miller, your leader. Frank Kimmel second. Aaron Crocker is running third. Kyle Krisloff fourth. And Chad McCumbee already up 4 spots in that number 11 car to the 5th spot right now. Spoke to Andy Hillenberg as we're about to go green here on the elevator on the way up to the booth here, and he said, hey Bob, if we can have some long green flag runs, we can win this race here today.
Yep, I talked to Andy earlier too before the race. He said the kid's got what it takes. He works at the school. He's a hard-working kid. He's a good kid, Dan. He says, I really hope good things for him. He's just got to have opportunity.
A couple of lap cars on the inside. The green flag waves again on lap number 13. The Country Joe Holmes Dodge out front, but here comes Kimmel. Looking to the inside. Will Miller give him the room?
Frank looking down that inside, one is setting up for that turn 3, but just not having enough horsepower to motor on by.
I think that shows you it right there, Danny. Take a look at that. Kimmel's car handling better in the corners, but that Hagen's Racing engine there, so powerful. Joey's able to put some car links on him down the straightaway, and then look at this. Kimmel catches right back up.
Frank reels back in, and
trouble. Trouble right here on the trioval portion of the front stretch. The 48 car for James Hilton.
Wow. Not too hard of a lick, hopefully, for James. Again, James being 70 years young plus, been around racing a long time, raced Winston Cup, Grand National Series, been in all the touring series. James is a great competitor and just a great guy, great attitude. This mountain rock music car.
Oh, damage to the 43 car as well for Chevy White. He finished in the top 5 here when we were here in March. Let's see what happens here to James Hilton and Chevy White. 3 abreast action, Danny.
Wow, looked like the car in the middle there got a little loose and just got in the side of James. James really nothing he could do, and James bounces off the wall. Looks like he's okay though.
That was Chevy White in the middle there. Don, you have more?
Well, certainly on James Hilton, we really have a lot of respect for this guy. He's going to be 71 years young, August 26. You know, this guy made over 600 career Winston Cup starts, finished second in points 3 times there, twice to Richard Petty and once to David Pearson. We owe a lot to guys like James Hilton who helped pioneer this big machine stock car racing into what it is today. His Cup days are over, but he lives on here in Arcaville. Finished 22nd at Pocono and Gateway a short time ago, and it's just really cool to still have him around. He says he's not trying to prove anything to himself or anyone else. He just loves to race, and he misses racing, and that's why he's here today. We hope he's okay.
And one of his cars just a couple of years ago with Kirk Shelmerdine driving, one at Charlotte. Joey Miller, though, trying to win another here at Nashville. He won this race 1 year ago, coming from 2 laps down, and finished second here in March in that Country Homes Dodge.
Yep, Joey's car, again, just flawless, sticking right to the bottom of the racetrack here. And so important at Nashville Speedway to stay down on the bottom, especially early in the day. Need to get rubber down up in that groove, in a half-second groove, in case you do slip. And Joey's able to keep it right down on the bottom because he has no real competition to speak of for right now.
He said his biggest goal for the remainder of this year is of course, to win that Rookie of the Year, put as much pressure as he can on Frank Kimmel, but he wants that pork chopper, the Harley Davidson, being given out to the guy who wins the most poles here in ARCA REMAX Series competition by the pork folks. And right now he's got 5 poles. Nobody else is close. Aaron Crocker and David Reagan have 2, so he is well on his way to winning that Harley Davidson.
It's a great award that Pork has done, and gives a guy a little bit more momentum to shoot for.
Nothing much has changed in the top 5 due to this latest caution, the second out here in Nashville, but we got more racing in a minute on Speed. Setzer looking for that coveted guitar, the trophy given to the winner here tonight on Speed Channel, and he has been hot.
He has. Awesome trophy to have. To leave Nashville with that trophy, man, that'd look good on the mantle, I can tell you that.
Looking good here today, Joey Miller, although we've only competed a few green flag laps here at Nashville. He leads this circuit here today, but we've been talking a lot about Erin Crocker, and she has showed so much poise in her 4 starts here in ARCA REMAX Series competition with 3 top 10 finishes, Dan.
I'm amazed at Erin Crocker, how well disciplined she is. She really focuses on what Ray tells her, and not that Ray teaches her everything, but she listens really well. And I talked to Ray, and he said that's why she's going to be so good. She's a great listener, and she listens to what you tell her, and she does it.
She'll be running the Knoxville Nationals tonight. She'll have to go from the B main to try to make the A, but here we go, racing again here in Nashville. Two and 3 wide all over the place. Frank Kimmel, good handling race car on that Advanced Auto Parts number 46 here today, has been looking to the inside of Joey Miller.
Frank's really good on these restarts, and he knows, I believe, if he gets around Joey, he needs to do it early, because it seems like a few laps go by, Joey's tires get warm, and he really gets hooked up and moves, picks up a tenth or so. So, he needs to do it early, but still, Joey Miller still running the fast lap there. Some 2/10 quicker than Frank Kimmel that lap.
They're up to speed here around this cement racetrack. Up front, they are single file, but you should see them side by side in the back of the pack and in the middle. For the 8th spot on back, they are cooking right now.
See Frank drive right down to the bottom of the racetrack. He's able to touch that yellow line again. It's so important this early in the game here at Nashville. You need to get to the bottom of the racetrack. You see 5-car Bobby Gearhart maybe having a little bit of trouble, a little slip. Cars working around the outside of. Unfortunate for Bobby.
There's that Boca Bay Builders car for Johnny Leonard. A big announcement for him here today. He is going to run 2 Craftsman Truck Series races a little later on this year and a full schedule next year, Wendy Venturini.
Well, that is true. Johnny Leonard announced today that he'll have 2 truck races this season in preparing him for the 2006 season, where he will be running full-time in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Now, the question you may be asking is, what will he be running? Sounds like that they have bought trucks from Dave Fuge at Express Motorsports, and they have partnered up with Dave Fuge, and they will be running the number 19, possibly. Still not sure on that one, but Johnny Leonard for sure will be in the truck series come later on this year.
There's Johnny inside the cockpit of his number 13 race car with the shield up on his helmet, just looking in front of him, and take a look at his hands on the wheel. Very smooth out there around this racetrack.
Yeah, he does. That car looks really good. He's not gripping that steering wheel, so he's not scared for his life. He's got his visor up. Again, that blows some cool air into your helmet there. Kind of keeps you cooled down a little bit in some situations if you don't have an air conditioner blowing in your helmet. If you do open the visor and you do have an air conditioner, it actually gets hotter. So obviously, you probably don't have an air conditioner. Either that or it's not working, blowing cool air in his helmet here today.
The battle for the 4th spot, Kyle Krisaloff in that Ditech.com number 7, and the 11 car for Chad McCumbee. Krisaloff has had a good car all weekend long. 7th in practice yesterday, qualified 4th, and he says, I want that guitar.
Yep, talking to Bobby Gearhart and Kyle himself and the Gearhart clan. He says we've worked on the car. We think we have the right combination. And Kyle said, I'm just off a 10th, 2 tenths, and I don't quite know where it is. He said, but we're working on it. Me being a new guy, rookie, and just working my way through the series. So I'm going to give it a little time. I'm going to be patient. I've decided I want to finish races. So I think that's a smart move for Kyle.
Yet he hasn't been happy in 10 races this year. He's only got 4 top 10 finishes, so he's been a little disappointed in that. To Don Ray to Bob.
Actually, Bobby's pretty happy right now. He did come on the radio and say the car is very, very good. Not too tight, not too loose, so he's very happy for the race car. This is the same car he crashed here at Nashville in practice earlier this year. They put a front clip on it and put it on the pole at MIS and finished 2nd in this car at Kansas. Kyle Krisaloff will be attempting the NASCAR Busch Series race, by the way, in tandem with the ARCA race next weekend at MIS. Right now, Kyle Krisaloff really good, just being patient, just like rookies should be.
Look at that, the 46 car Kimmel fading back just a little bit. A few car lengths behind leader Joey Miller, and here comes Erin Crocker trying to creep up to the back bumper of the port car.
Yep, these guys are about a 1/10 of a second from first place. Joey Miller's running 3140s. Frank Kimmel's running 3150s. Erin Crocker running 3160s and 70s. So these cars are separated by 1/10 of a second. All it takes is a little bit of traffic, and you can get right back up there.
Wendy?
We saw Erin Crocker the last 2 restarts. She kind of sat back behind Joey Miller and Frank Kimmel, and then once we get green flag laps going, she seems to catch back up to to Frank. Now, she has been a little bit tight when she gets on the throttle. Her crew chief, Chris Andrews, just keeps reminding her to hit her marks and arc the corners like she has been doing the first 26 laps that we've had.
Benny Chastain on pit road for the second time here today, but Crocker looking good. She's doing similar to what she did at Pocono, running a very consistent and patient race.
Yep, again, she's such a good listener, and Ray, that's why Ray really likes her. She listens, she does what she says, and again, you have to be here at the end. It's so important here at Nashville because you can drive way down deep in them corners, but the problem is you have to get down on the brake pedal so hard here, Bob, and then when you do that, it heats them brakes up. You lose your front brakes, then you're going to go back in a hurry. Some of these teams have brake fans on these cars where they actually blow air on these brakes the whole time, so it's important to not drive that.
Sorry to interrupt.
That's all right.
But that is incredible. Krislov going to the inside of Dana White in the 6 car and Brandon Nupp in that 96, both a lap down, and he is really pushing it now. But here comes McCumbee.
Yep, 2 development drivers here. Ray Evernham versus Hendricks. These guys, they know they have to run up front. They need to stay up front. And you're right, Bob. That was a little bit nerve-wracking there coming through that traffic.
And let's not forget about McCumbee of the Andy Hillenberg stable right now. He says, hey, I'm under contract with Andy. He has helped my career, but I am more or less a free agent. I'm looking for opportunities, and that's why I'm getting my experience with Andy here in the ARCA REMAX Series, and it has done wonders for him already. He's got some teams looking at him, but no opportunities just yet.
Not yet, but if he keeps running like this, he's running so good. You know, he's running 5th right now. He needs to finish. He needs to be consistent. Top 5 finishes in the ARCA Series will get you a long way.
McCumbee, a hard-working dude, trying to work his way to the front here at Nashville and challenge Joey Miller for the lead. Frank Kimmel here running second at the Nashville Super Speedway for the ARCA REMAX Series. Kimmel has won here 3 times, trying to pick up his 4th victory on a beautiful but very, very hot day here in Nashville. Kimmel, you can't even see leader Joey Miller in front. Take a look at the 16 right there of Larry Hollenbeck. He was just involved in an interesting, very, very interesting incident with Benny Chastain on the racetrack. Check this out.
Sure one. He drives down the bottom, gets down on the apron, and we're not sure. He gets sideways here, and you see something come out the back of the race car. Looked like a fan belt, not sure. And that would be Jim Hollenbeck, Larry Hollenbeck's son, trying to make a mark in the ARCA Series. But he's still back underway, so don't know if it was a fan belt off the rear end pump, which you do not have to have. It helps, but looked like some big piece of rubber flew out from underneath that car.
You see that 32 car. There's the debris on the inside apron of the racetrack. Will that cause a problem?
Yeah, if somebody hits it, you're darn right it will. And we're not supposed to be that far down on the bottom of the racetrack, but you get 3 wide coming off that corner, and you'll hit it. So I'm sure ARCA's keeping a sharp eye on that.
Joey Miller out front. Mentioned the 32 car of Danny O'Quinn. He is running in the 10th spot right now.
There we see Todd Bowser in the GFS entered car. Todd having a pretty good run in here today. He's been in this series a long time. Jack Bowser, father of Todd Bowser, been in this series for a long time also.
Crocker looking pretty good, pulling up to the back bumper once again of Frank Kimmel and looking to the inside this time around.
Yep, Aaron drives right down to the bottom. That's where you want to be on this racetrack. Notice Frank's been falling back the last few laps. Not sure if the handle's going away on that race car or what, but you see Aaron drive way down in the corner and stand on the gas to the middle and drift off the corner, but we're starting to get some rubber up on the second groove of that racetrack now. You're able to do that.
As those guys went around the 4th corner right there, the white car pulling onto pit road was Brad Smith. He's been on pit road a lot here already today, but Frank has not had a win here since 2002. Burt Engel, the 62, he's going by right there, and he finished 7th here in the springtime, so Frank not having his consistently good runs here at Nashville lately.
No, not quite having the feel for this racetrack. Of course, it's a concrete racetrack. Talked to crew chief, Brother Bill. He says, we just haven't got the exact feel, the setup for this racetrack to stay underneath the car all day long. He said, so look for us to come in and make some adjustments during the day here.
While we were away, Kyle Krislov in that Ditech.com number 7 has moved up to the 2nd spot. So Krislov looking pretty good.
Wow. great run for Kristoff. Like we talked earlier, again, that's a Hendricks car. They've made some changes, but Kyle had told me earlier, he said, we really haven't had the same car long enough to really make a big difference. I need to drive one car for 6 or 8 races to really feel good about it.
Kimmel just lost a couple of spots, one to Aaron Crocker and now also another to Chad McCumbee. So something not exactly right with Frank Kimmel's machine out here today. Looked good early on, was trying to pull to the inside of leader Joey Miller. Now he's falling back a little bit, Don Radebach.
Yeah, he is. The tight condition we reported on earlier in the center of the corner is getting, or growing, I should say, to the entry of the corner, through the center and off the corner. The car is getting tighter and tighter in these longer green flag runs. They need to correct that, and they hope to when they come down for the first pit stop, and they hope to do that with a track bar adjustment and air pressure, but getting tighter all the time, so Frank Kimmel's falling back.
And that's something interesting, Danny, to keep track of here. This is a cement racetrack, and they have different tendencies than do the asphalt racetrack. So as this race progresses, are we going to see this racetrack tighten up? It's actually going to gain grip, or what's the deal?
Well, it's all about setup, Bob. It's the crew chief, what he puts underneath that car. Some crew chiefs will go with the normal asphalt setup and hope that it stays underneath the car. But again, being concrete, you do have to come up with a little different shock and spring package. So again, the guy that makes the roll of the dice, that does the right one there, or the calculated guess, he's going to be the guy in victory lane. So they are different setups.
The 46 and the 11 swapping back and forth for that 4th spot. McCumbee went by, Kimmel back by. They have been side by side and 3 abreast at times around this racetrack.
Back and forth, but all in all, these guys have done an excellent job here today. They've kept the race car down on the bottom early in the race, get some rubber built up on that 2nd and 3rd groove, and that's so important to keep these cars from getting spun out.
There is 2nd and 3rd. Kyle Kristoff and Aaron Crocker. Can they even see Joey Miller out there in the distance? Kristoff 2.6 seconds behind the leader. But we have plenty of racing to go. 43 of 151 in the books here from Nashville. Pit stops and passing. Plenty of bump and grind still to come.
Welcome back to Nashville Super Speedway, where things are really getting hot, especially for Kyle Kristoff, who's got some hot brakes on pit road. They got the hood up, but it's not an engine problem. They've got brake issues. The brakes have locked up on the front end, and that's why they're jacked up and working on it under green flag conditions, losing lots of laps. It's all about the brakes. They're not working well. Kyle Kristoff will not go to victory lane today at Nashville Super Speedway.
Already 2 laps down, about to go 3 laps down now for Kristoff. So trouble again for that Hendrick development driver. Aaron Crocker has taken over the 2nd spot, and McCumbee and Kimmel continue to duke it out now for the 3rd spot.
Great battle there. They just keep going back and forth. 2 or 3 laps, they'll keep dicing, but McCumbee's got a great race car, and Frank knows it, so they're both. Frank looks at the big picture. He has to be careful. He don't want to race him too hard. We got a lot of laps to go. He wants to be there at the end. Again, old Frank, he races for championships, and he knows what he's got to do to get it done. But Chad, he's here to win the race here today.
Here's what's pretty interesting about Chad McCumbee, as we see Ken Weaver now coming up as well. We haven't spoken about the Dream Weaver today so far, but now we are. Look at that. The 20 car to the inside of Kimmel, picking up another spot and into the top 5, Wendy.
Ken Weaver at the start of the race was bottoming out on both ends, but it wasn't doing that in practice yesterday. So crew chief Doug George was scratching his head momentarily, but it seemed to work itself out. They did contemplate coming down pit road during that last caution, but when the leaders did not come down pit road, crew chief Doug George decided to keep Ken Weaver out and keep running around, and he's moved up to 4th.
Looking good so far. Weaver in the top 5 in points here in his rookie season. He's had a couple of mechanical failures. Otherwise, he believes he would be battling Joey Miller for that rookie title. Right now, he's a couple hundred markers behind, but he's a businessman at heart too. Has about 1,000 employees in some oil drilling company, as well as the phone card company.
Does a little bit of everything. Got his hands everywhere, and he is a dream weaver, and he has lived his dream, just like you say, Bob.
48 years old on the inside of McCumbee, looking for another spot. And just behind that, you see David Reagan there in the 31W insulation car. That is a Robert Yates chassis, a former Elliott Sadler car, as well as a Robert Yates engine under the hood. He's one of the Roush Gong Show drivers, one of the top 12 finalists, right now running in the 6th spot.
David having a great run here today. He was excited. Him and his dad, Ken Reagan, who's been around racing an awful long time, they were both excited about today. They need a good finish. Unfortunately, they've been haunted with some mechanical problems.
Yellow flag out on the racetrack here at the Nashville Super Speedway for that car right there into the wall, the 31W insulation machine for the 09 car out here on the racetrack for Justin Ashburn.
Wow, tough break. That's a sister car to just David Reagan, 31 Installation. I believe it runs out of the Wayne Day shop, and unfortunate for him. Not sure if they run exactly at the same shop, but I know they do trade some secrets there.
Oh, and that's sending all sorts of debris from that ruptured tire and that fender there on the right front of that race car. A long cleanup here for the ARCA crew around this racetrack because he sent plenty of rubber pellets out in that track.
Unfortunate for Justin, when you blow a tire, you have to get slowed down as fast as you can, which he did do, and it just, when that tire shreds, it just takes the fender with it. So his day's probably ended here today.
Finally gets to the inside of the racetrack. Ashburn on pit road. Plenty of damage. He is done for the day, as Danny mentioned.
Has to be careful. Mayo lost brakes on that car also. He took a little shot to the right front. Sometimes you knock a caliper off the car and you lose brakes, so you have to be careful when you get ready to stop coming down pit road.
Hard to steer that car with it like that. Wish he would have got to the bottom of the racetrack right there, but if you're wondering in that occasion right there, how tough is it to steer that race car?
Oh, it's real tough. You can't turn. The tie rods have been knocked off the car. It's pushed back in. The suspension's been pushed back into the right front. You really have to be careful because sometimes that adrenaline flow as a race car driver, you get going, you can't get slowed down, and you come down pit road and you realize, guess what? No brakes. So have to be careful, but it looks like he understands what he's got there, and he'll be okay.
Speaking of pit road, interesting situation here, Danny, and Joey Miller coming down pit road. We were just about to mention that. Lap 53 in the books, so some of the leaders coming down pit road. Wendy?
Eric Crocker will be coming to a stop first on this end of pit road. She's currently second. Ken Weaver is running third right behind her. They are going to take one turn out of the left rear of Eric Crocker's car because she has been a little bit tight. That will free up her car. 4 tires and fuel. Good timing on that caution. If we turn just slightly to Ken Weaver, is one stall over. They are taking 4 tires. You see a bunch of red uniforms on Ken Weaver's crew. That's because this is the Truck Series team for Jack Sprague, getting a little practice before the truck race tonight. 4 tires, no adjustments, a little bit of a long stop on the 20. Don?
I won't have to keep you long. No adjustments necessary here on the Country Joe Holmes Dodge. Just tires and gas. Of course, Joey Miller will get some fuel too and take on some water. He's pretty hot in there today on where temperatures are growing up to be about 90 degrees today. That means about 130 inside the cockpit. No adjustments on the 9 car. He's good to go. Although Frank Kimmel beat him off pit road, I noticed.
Yeah, Donnie, question for you actually here. A slow stop for Joey Miller there. A lot of people beat him off of pit road, so we got to see if they had some trouble down there because that was awfully slow for the Country Joe Holmes crew. Eric Crocker made it off of pit road first. We'll come back with more as Justin Ashburn has trouble here at Nashville.
You know, I'm a sensible sort of bloke.
Good job, lovely wife, 2 perfect kids.
Jack, watch where you put that skateboard. It's just that we're a bit, well, messy when it comes to money. We've got the odd loan here, the odd credit card there. I just wish we could put it all in one place and not have to worry about it.
Thank you.
Now there's a loan company for people like you. If you're a homeowner, just call Picture on 0800 064 5200 and we could rearrange your credit into one affordable loan. You can borrow anything from £10,000 to £100,000, and with rates like these, you'll have more to spend on the really important things in life. At Picture, we don't fuss or patronise. We just help you live your life the way you want.
What I need is a loan company that's for people like me. Ready, Chris?
What you need, mate, is to talk to Picture.
Call Picture now on 0800 064 5200 and we'll sort out that loan for you too.
What do you want to watch?
Do you have zero no-claims bonus and want cheaper car insurance? That's Bell. At last, car insurance for people who have zero no-claims bonus. Bell could save you up to £175. That's great news if you have zero no-claims bonus. For cheaper car insurance, even if you have zero no-claims bonus, give us a bell. You have nothing to lose. Or save even more at bell.co.uk. That's bell.co.uk.
Our next race for the ARCA REMAX Series live on Speed Channel next Friday, August 19th at Michigan International Speedway, 5 p.m. Eastern on Speed Channel. Can Kimmel repeat? And will they knock down the wall once again? You'll find out live on Speed Channel next week, but right now our concern is this race and David Reagan on pit road, a battery issue for that number 90 team. One lap to the green. There is Reagan's car. Wendy, what's going on down there?
I talked to Tommy Perkins, his crew chief. He simply said the battery went dead. They came in and they're going to switch it out and try and get David back out there as soon as possible. You'll see blue uniforms on that 90 car. That's because that is Rick Crawford's truck team helping out David Reagan's team today.
Problems, a tough break for Reagan, who has been awfully good here in ARCA REMAX Series competition this year. In fact, he's picked up a win earlier this year on the short track, but he's been pretty good with 5 top 5s and 6 top 10s this year, and he's missed a couple of races.
Man, it's just so unfortunate. Such a strong team, great driver, and they've had everything. They've just been haunted by little mechanical issues like that. And again, that's what's so tough about this sport. Little things like that can happen and, man, just take you out of the game just way before you know it.
You know, some slow pit stops have taken them out of the game this year, so they brought in Rick Crawford's pit crew. As Wendy Venturini mentioned, they thought they had the deals done here today. Good pit stops, fast race car, and then the battery box pipes.
It's just motorsports. Unfortunately, it's a tough sport, and there's just too many variables.
Reagan back underway, but he has lost some time on the racetrack. Already a lap down, actually 3 scored in the 23rd spot. Aaron Crocker will lead the field to green here, the 34 on the inside, a lap down, the independent runner of Darrell Basham. Slow to the green flag is Crocker. There it is, restart on lap 61. Wow, she got a good start over Ken Weaver, who is now in the 2nd spot.
Great start on Ken Weaver. She caught him sleeping, but you know, I think a few laps Ken will be back underway. He's got Wagner power and a strong car here.
Something interesting I want to watch here. Don Radebaugh told us, hey, the 9 team knew they were going to make a slow stop because they weren't worried. They knew Joey Miller could make it back up to the front, so we want to watch that 9 car who's creeping up to the rear of the 20 car. Here comes Kimmel as well. That's the battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th right now. But we got to keep an eye on the 9 car and see how good he is behind a race car.
You're exactly right, Bob. That'll show us exactly what that race car's got, because when you get behind the nose of a race car, got Ken a little bit loose, got underneath him, and if you lose that air off the hood of that race car, sometimes if it's not that great of a car, you just can't get it steered down in the center of the corner. So it's so important to be in that open win like he is right now. He knew that. He did what he had to do to get around Ken Weaver and get that clean air, but he pushed way up the racetrack, drove way in deep there, as you see Frank Kimmel looking on the bottom.
Kimmel's got the preferred line now, going down the front stretch and into turn number 1. But that Hagen's Racing power in that number 9 car has kept him even with Kimmel throughout this race.
Yeah, he just got in a little deep there down there in 3, and Frank was able to drive back underneath him, but I'm sure his spotters hollering at him, hey, get back in your rhythm, get back down to the bottom of the racetrack, and do what you do best. Just drive that back.
When we got you up to speed earlier in the race, we showed you 1 week ago on the short track of Lake Erie, Kimmel and Miller side by side until Miller had some problems and dropped out of the race. That is 2nd and 1st in points in that order on the racetrack. Weaver dropping back. Here comes McCumbee, strong once again, a little bit slow pit stop on pit road, but he's diving underneath Weaver, going for that 4th spot.
Yep, just, hey, that 11 car has really come alive. They made an adjustment there. That last pit stop, looks like he's able to turn that car on the bottom there a little bit more, and that's so important here at Nashville. Some 5, 10, 15 laps or so. We'll see what he's really got. Both got Wagner engines in them race cars, so they're evenly powered, so it's all about driver and aerodynamics and setup.
Lap 65 approaching halfway here. You take a look at the Remax ticker on top of the screen. You can see where your favorite drivers are running, like Jason Jarrett in the 7th spot for the Venerini Motorsports team.
Jason's moving his way to the front. Unfortunate, not enough funding for that team to put Billy Venturini in a car, but they said, hey, we're going to run one car. We're going to do a good effort with the 25 car, keep Jason in the car, and hopefully have some good top 5 finishes.
Well, here's the situation. We all knew that Billy got hurt in Daytona earlier this year. He had the halo around his neck, broke some vertebra in his neck. Well, Jason stepped into that car and filled in quite nicely for that team. But what has happened is they have a brand new sponsor this year in Central Merchant Services. Billy is okay. He can drive the car. He is ready to go. We got trouble on the racetrack. We'll get back to that story in a second. The 4 car of Mike Garrity, and I believe that's the 43 car of Chevy White.
Yes, it is.
Who finished 4th here. And ironically, Chevy White driving a blue Dodge here today.
Here's Mike Garrity starting the car up, getting back underway. Obviously frustrated. Looks like he backed the race car in the wall, pushing back the spoiler in. So don't know if he'll have the day that he really wanted here today at Nashville.
Well, Garrity's had a couple of good runs here this year at Daytona, also at Pocono, one of those Dodge development drivers. He comes from the karting ranks. Man, look at the back end of that race car for Chevy White. Yep, just crunched up that car.
His day will be used over. Unfortunate. We do have soft walls here at Nashville. It's a big help, but when you get turned around at 160, there you go. They're down in the corner. Looked like Chevy maybe got a little loose. Not sure if it was by himself. Mike was on the outside there, just kind of victim of circumstance, unfortunately.
Both of those guys, former WKA karting champions.
Chevy drives down the bottom, driving down this front straightaway, down into turn 1. Driving way down deep in the corner.
Hard to see what exactly happened from that view, but David Reagan was pretty close to that as well. 3 laps down, you can see. Looks like the 4 and the 43 might have just shared a line there.
Yeah, exactly right, Bob. But 43 was on the bottom. I think he maybe just drove down in the corner to clear Mike Garrity, and maybe the car just got a little bit loose. You have to be so careful of that.
Garrity in the Hans Group, number 4. Has run well here, but he is not going to run well with that front fender and that rear end on that car like that here today. We'll be back from Nashville in a moment.
The Motors TV racing team will be back in action for the grand finale of this year's Trophy Andros at the Stade de France in Paris. Candidates from across France and the UK came together to see who had the right stuff to compete in an ice racing sprint car. Join the high-speed television network for the driver selection process and find out who made it to the Stade de France. The Motors TV Racing Team Andros Trophy Driver Selection Show, Sunday, March 5th from 8 p.m. right here on Motors TV. Well, let's check out what's in store on Motors TV this coming Saturday evening. At 8:30, it's the Retromobile Vintage Car Show. At 9 p.m., it's World of Outlaws Round 9 from Elbridge, New York. Then from 10 p.m., World Superbike and Super Sport Highlights, Round 1, Doha, Qatar.
She's smart. She's part of an almost 5 million strong society. A nationwide breakdown service that gets to you on average in 40 minutes. With 6,000 trained technicians at the ready. The cost? From just £35. The name? Green Flag. Call 0845 246 4422 or buy online. Green Flag. Isn't it time you joined the Self-Preservation Society?
Just searching for car insurance drive you crazy? So many companies and giving you details over and over and over and over again. Confused.com is an amazing new way to save you loads of time. You fill in one form and Confused does all the legwork for you. We go to Admiral, More Than, Norwich Union Direct and many more. What could be easier? And you might just save yourself a bundle. That's Confused.com. Give us a try. Confused.com.
Some issues for the 25 team and its driver, Jason Jarrett. He has been on pit road. Wendy, what's going on there?
Well, they have made a little bit of a strategy call here in the 25 pit. On lap 70, they came in and they took 4 tires, and they didn't make any adjustments to the 25 car, but they made sure to give Jason Jarrett 3 bags of ice and a little extra water. Billy Venturini, of course, my brother, is making the calls on the pit box, and they are planning to go the rest of the race. That was their last stop. Now, the plan is, before this caution goes back green, the 25 is going to come back down pit road and top off the 25. We're on lap 71. This is a 151 lap race, and they do know they will make it the rest of the way with the 25 car. Now, the bags of ice that they handed Jason they fell actually to the bottom of the car. So when he comes back in to top off, you see the crew frantically grabbing water and bags of ice. They don't have any more bags, so it's made apparent one more bag of ice for Jason Jarrett, and they are going to get those bags to Jason as soon as he comes back down pit road. It's awfully hot in those cars, guys.
Definitely hot inside those cars, Wendy, and you see Jason Jarrett back out on the racetrack right now, and was beginning to talk about the situation to what the 25 was doing actually out on the racetrack this year with the 25 car, Jason Jarrett in that car this year, and there goes Mark Gibson on pit road as well. But Billy Venturini injured in that race at Daytona. He came back and ran at Kentucky, but Central Merchant Services actually is a new sponsor with that team this year, and they really value the fact of a top 10 finish in the point standings at the end of the year, and that is why they are keeping Jason Jarrett in the car. Now, as far as Billy Venturini, he's ready to go. He plans on running Chicago, Toledo, and Talladega for the rest of the year, but Central Merchant Services was the one that kept Jason Jarrett in that car because they want a top 10 points finish at the end of the year, and not that cat right there, Billy Venturini, who is a talented shoe and will be back in competition full-time next year in ARCA. In fact, he finished second last week in Lake Erie.
He should, and they're third in owner points right now. Again, driver dehydration and heat. That the cars are some 140, 150 degrees. You sweat, sweat, sweat. You got to have water. You got to have fluids, and it's so important. We talked about it earlier. 2 or 3 drivers went to infield care yesterday. They'll be pulling more out today, and then the truck race after our race. I tell you, that heat is so brutal. It requires talent and it requires experience to understand that you need to really condition yourself.
Conditioning herself at the lead right now is Erin Crocker, Ray Evernham's development driver. She will run 5 Busch Series races at the end of this season, still to be determined. But in a bump into NASCAR Live today, she told our Wendy Venturini that Richmond could be the first one.
Yep, she's got big plans and races. We want to take her easy. We want to progress her slow. We're not in no hurry. He said it's so important. Listening to Erin's radio communication here a few minutes ago, they came in. She said, I'm a little tight in the center. I don't like the nose slide in the center. They took a half a round out of the left rear of that car, and we'll see what that car does. So hopefully they made it a little bit better for her on this one.
Here comes Miller and Kimmel pulling up to the back end of the 98. Kimmel looking very strong. They had to have made an adjustment on that car during that pit stop because that thing is coming to the front again.
Yep, Kimmel's, again, they've been making adjustments on that car. Again, you get tight in the center of this racetrack. You slide the nose up in the center. It's not good. You cannot get back into gas, so it's so important to keep that car down on the bottom to be able to get back into gas.
Then again, he was good early on in an early run in this race, but faded as the run went on.
Yeah, it seems as the tires get hot, the right front heats up on the car, Bob, and then you start to go to the back. So you may have to come in and take a half a round around a wedge at it, take some pressure pressure off that right front tire so that it gets through the corner a little cooler.
What do you think? Joey Miller maybe not as good as Kevin Sawinski, Mike Chaffee, the crew chief on that team, had thought, because he hasn't been able to pull by as easily as he had thought past Aaron Crocker.
Now he might be just waiting. Again, he has to be patient, get out single file, string it out. Again, lap 151 is the lap you want to be here to race on. So I think he's got something for Bob, just going to be towards the end.
And we are now halfway into the books. Let's go to Don Radebock.
Battle for fourth here as you see a 39 car of Eric Darnell drive underneath the Ken Weaver, the Dream Weaver, like we say, driving down in the corner. He's doing a great job here today. Eric Darnell, just a youngster, another candidate in that golf show.
Bay Darnell is his grandfather, and Bay Darnell is very famous around the racing ranks for years. Eric, the driver of that 39 car, that is a Roush car, a former Matt Kenseth car. Driving a former Johnny Benson car is Ken Weaver with Chad McCumbee on his back bumper. But Darnell is the guy to watch right now in the fourth spot in that yellow number 39. Just in front of that duo right now. He is looking good. He has been patient the entire race and is moving up through the pack.
Yep, now's the time. I tell you, he's been inching his way to the front. And again, he needs to be there in that top three towards the end. He could put that car in victory lane here today.
Weaver has been there. McCumbee has been there. Another guy starting to move up a little bit is just behind this. Another yellow car, another Roush driver, Danny O'Quinn, the former Rookie of the Year in the Pro Cup Series.
Yep, Danny, Tony Lambert, the crew chief on that car. A little bit of Roush help there. Roush R&D driver, another Roush R&D driver. He says, we're not getting the really good stuff, though. We really wouldn't expect them to give us the really good stuff. They're giving us stuff from last year. When I say stuff, I mean cars and engines. Not quite the 830 or 840 horsepower motors that some of these other ones are. They may be at 800 or 810, but that's good. It makes these guys work a little bit harder, and you can see exactly what kind of talent these guys have.
Exactly. He's going to run a couple of more ARCA races before the end of the season. Chicagoland will be his next race. But something interesting about that cat, Danny O'Quinn, Eric Darnell, and even David Reagan. Three guys going for one Truck Series ride in the Roush stables right now. Last night, all three of them went to the Tennessee Titans game here in town, had a good old time. They said, hey, we're just buddies going for the same spot.
They all get along really well, but you know what? I talked to every one of them, and what each one of them said, I just want to beat the other two guys in this race here today, because they say, I think that's what it's going to take.
I asked them who's the best, and of course, all three of them said, of course, I'm the best.
Well, that's good. That's a good ego and a good attitude as a race car driver to have, that's for sure.
O'Quinn has been also running some UARA late model races around the Southeast as well. In fact, he's run 6 of them here in the last month and a half or so, finished in the top 5 in 5 of them, and won one of those races. So he is a hot shoe, and let me tell you something, that's one big cat too, as he pulls to the inside of McCumbee. This dude is like 6'4", and gotta be like 250 pounds.
Oh, he's huge he is. I tell you, they were making fun of him on the big show the other day, and all the guys were there, and they picked on him a little bit, and they said, you better be careful, that big guy's going to crush it. He's got a great crew chief also, Tony Lambert, ex-crew chief of Mark Martin in the Busch Series. Tony's been around a long time, helped Lyndon Amick in the Busch Series. Tony knows how to make these cars get around also, so they got a great package.
Oh, check this out. This is getting good here. Buckle up your britches, folks. Joey Miller has pulled up on Aaron Crocker in traffic as they go around Dana White, and also the 94, I believe that's Jason Basham.
Yep, working around. You see, working the back of Aaron Crocker. Joey knows what it takes. Just take a little bit of air off the back of that car as you're driving down in the corner. It gives that car a little light feeling, then you can drive right underneath them. But that 98 car's got good Everham power underneath the hood, so down the straightaways, Joey's not quite needing to do what he has to do to fire.
That 9 team's got some good Hagen's racing power as well. They have some ties to Ray Evernham. Matt Hagen's the team owner there, and Ray Evernham speak on a monthly basis and get some information. They share some things back and forth. Not a driver development deal by any means for Matt Hagen's with Ray Evernham, but they are very friendly.
Yes, they are. 20-year-old Joey Miller knows what he has to do to get it done here. He got his first win here at Nashville Super Speedway here in the past. So
in his first start.
Absolutely. He loves this racetrack, Bob. That's a big key as a race car driver, to have that confidence to come back here and know that you like the racetrack. You really do good.
And he's got that guitar from winning here last year, hanging up in the Country Joe Racing Stables up in Lakeville, Minnesota. That is a very tight-knit group there. Country Joe Holmes has has been in ASA in the super late model ranks for years, and those folks up in Minnesota, I have been to their shop. Everybody up in Minnesota pulls for Joey Miller and that team.
That's great. A great bunch of people, like you say, combined with Matt Hagens and Country Joe Holmes. What a fine bunch. Super team. Great effort they've really put together here.
You know, Joey Miller has been trying to stay busy. Hopped in a Legends car just a couple of weeks ago at Sauk Center up at I-94 Raceway there in Minnesota, and blew up a motor there.
Yep. Hey, it's racing. There's Joey looking down the bottom. He's got it.
Miller past Crocker for the top spot here at Nashville with 66 to go. Wow. Here comes Crocker. This is a move that she has used so many times in the open wheel ranks in the sprint cars, trying to do the slide job, but Miller tucks her behind a lap car and keeps that lead.
Woo! Joey just drove down in the corner, overdrove, slid his nose in the center of the race car, ran in the center of that corner, and Aaron was able to get back in the gas and get back by her, but Joey had such a good run coming up the corner. He powered right on by her again.
Some patience for Erin Crocker as well, because right now she had the run and just played it smart. Ray Irvingham ought to be proud of his girl out here on the racetrack. Miller versus Crocker. Oh, it's going to get good. Champ Car World Series Grand Prix of Denver. Sebastian Bourdais is on a roll, winning 2 races in a row. But Paul Tracy isn't about to let him get too far ahead. Count on wheel-to-wheel racing in the Mile High City. The Champ Car World Series Grand Prix of Denver tomorrow live, 3:30 p.m. on Speed. And I understand that Paul Tracy actually tested an ARCA car recently for Andy Hillenberg's team, so something interesting there as he tries to break into the stock car realm. One guy who is breaking into the top 10 here, the Boca Bay Builders driver for Johnny Leonard. Only one top 10 finish this year, but he has really come on strong. Started 15th, dropped back to 20th. Now he's up to the 8th spot in that 13 car, and as Wendy told you earlier, he'll be running some Kresge Truck Series races, which are of course live on Speed by the end of the year.
Big future plans for Johnny. Big jump, if you ask me. I think you need to come here and run a full season, if not 2 in the ARCA Series before making the jump, but everybody's got their ideas on how to do things, so I'm not always right. That's different than ideas.
How about David Odell? This kid is just looking wonderful. I mean, he ran Lanier earlier this year, missed his high school graduation to run that race, was battling for the lead, had some problems, but this weekend he comes into Nashville, the first time ever seeing this place. He's a graduate of the Fast Track Driving School for Andy Hillenberg, comes in here and he's running 9th. He is looking dynamite.
He's turning heads. We talked about him earlier. He's doing an awesome job. Again, if he could have a nice top 10 finish here to run top 10 in the ARCA Series, you get a lot of recognition, and to come from a short track like Lanier, I'm sure all his friends and fans will be proud of him.
And that is a short track car from the RCR stables, formerly driven by Kevin Harvick. That car right there from the Hagens Racing stables for Joey Miller, going for his 3rd straight top 2 finish here.
Great run for Joey. He's running about 2/10 quicker than Aaron Crocker right now on the racetrack. As they work through traffic, it kind of moves around a little bit, but his car's really driving a little bit better. Aaron was complaining a little bit earlier that she was shoving the nose in the center of the track, so that's probably slowing her down there a couple tenths, but Joey's car's just stuck into the racetrack.
A really good Rookie of the Year class here. ARCA has provided so many good rookies to the upper echelons of NASCAR, but check this out. Joey Miller leading Ken Weaver, Chad McCumbee in the top 5 here today, Johnny Leonard in the top 10, and David Reagan, even though he's missed 2 races, he's in the top 5. He was in the top 5 in this race earlier on before that battery trouble.
Great field of rookie competitors this year, also with some really good equipment. So these guys are running good this year, and they've got potential to win a race.
On board with one of the rookies, a battle for 5th right now, there is Ken Weaver. He's running 6th. Just in front of him is Danny O'Quinn. Just in front of that, actually 3 yellow cars in a row, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Eric Darnell, Danny O'Quinn, and Ken Weaver.
Danny looks to the high side. He was going to use that lap traffic and kind of pin Ken there, but I think he thought twice about it. He runs way up the racetrack. Not where you want to be here at Nashville. He needs to be probably right in the center of that groove there, and he can get through that corner a lot better. But Ken getting the preferred line as he runs down the straightaway.
Weaver takes the spot. Interesting about Ken Weaver, he's 48 years old. Do you you know he didn't drive a race car until he was 44?
That's what he told me. He said he really didn't have a background of racing. He said, just I built my businesses, I've got some money, and I've always wanted to drive race cars.
Had a buddy that he went to Devil's Bowl Speedway in Mesquite, Texas. His buddy had a modified. His buddy couldn't run it. Ken said, I'll run it. Went out there, won the very first race he ever entered in, lapped the field in the first 3 races, won those first 3 modified races, then went sprint car racing, won the first 3 in that. You know what? He hasn't won a race since, though.
Yeah, but he's in a different field of competition. He's doing a great job, and he's very talented. Ken's doing an awesome job.
Has also finished top 10 in the Craftsman Truck Series at Daytona as well. So Ken Weaver, a talented driver, even though he's only in his 5th season of driving. Plenty more action to go here. O'Quinn, Darnell trying to track down the top 3 drivers. Weaver as well. There's your top 5. Frank Kimmel had completed every single lap of ARCA REMAX Series competition this year until now. He just went a lap down. They are on pit road, and Don Radebaugh is there.
Yeah, and guess what? Frank Kimmel is climbing out. Why? Hood's up, motor. It's broke, and I think their day may be done. And maybe we can even sneak in here with Frank Kimmel real quick. In fact, I'm going to do just that. Frank Kimmel, who's inspecting the motor now, he likes to work on his race cars. Frank, what happened?
Looks like it blew up. I don't really know. No warning. It was running fine. Bill helped a lot on that first stop. We was able to keep up a little bit, but probably just broke a rod or something.
And we had mentioned earlier that you have completed all the laps this year, the only driver to do that. Of course, that's going to go away now. Prior to that, the car was tight, as I understood it from Bill.
Yeah, it really was. Just tight in the middle. That's the thing that's been plaguing us on these 1.5 miles. But Bill made it better that first stop. He was able to keep pace there at the end. The advanced auto parts guys worked really hard. It was a good day. We're going to have a good finish out of it anyway.
Well, Bill made it better, but he can't fix the motor. It's broke for good.
And on pit road is Joey Miller and the rest of the field here, the leaders. Aaron Crocker also on pit road. Wendy?
Crocker is the first car to come to a stop. They are going to make more of the same adjustment that they made the last time. Last stop, 1 turn out of the left rear and 4 tires for Aaron Crocker. Also, Ken Weaver's also in for 4 tires and a little bit of an air pressure adjustment because he's been loose. Aaron Crocker pulls away, and it looks like she will be the first car down pit road.
There's Ken Weaver in the 1-800 for a phone number 20. Crocker, Wendy is right. She is the first one off of pit road. Don?
Well, Joey Miller's still there. The car is absolutely perfect. He needs no adjustments, just tires and fuel. They were talking about taking their time on the first time, and they said they were going to have to hit all their marks big time on the second one, but down and away, Joey Miller still got a very good race car.
Good race car, but slow stops today for that Country Joe Holmes team. We are under caution for the 5th time of the day, and it spells bad news for Bobby Gerhardt. Here's what happened. There is Kimmel. He blew a motor, and I think Bobby Gerhardt might have gotten caught up in that oil.
Wow, yes, exactly. Kimmel blew a motor. He did a great job. Look how quick he gets off the racetrack, and then
there's
unfortunately
Gerhardt.
Bobby Gerhardt gets in his oil and just slides right up the racetrack, gets into the retaining wall. But I tell you, that could have been a lot worse. Frank did a great job getting that car down on the bottom of the racetrack, right down on pit road.
Pretty interesting that Chad McCumbee in that black and white car just behind that did not spin as well.
Yep, maybe Bobby's car was just a little bit more on the edge and just got right in the track of that oil. That's real unfortunate for Bobby Gerhardt.
The cleanup crew going to work here at the Nashville Super Speedway. Aaron Crocker comes off of pit road first. Once again, we'll see winner, first ever ARCA race. We'll find out here today. Aaron Crocker leading the field here. Ken Weaver in second. Joey Miller third. That is your top 3 as we have 105 laps in the books, 151 the distance here today for the ARCA REMAX series. And what we are going to try to do by virtue of our Racing Electronics radio here, Danny Part is going to try to get in contact with Aaron Crocker.
Aaron Crocker, Dan Pardis in the speed booth. You copy? Hey, Aaron, been listening to you on the radio a little bit, making some adjustments to that race car, a little bit tight in the center. How about that last round? Was a little bit better, and did you guys just make some adjustments to improve it a little bit more?
We kind of headed in the same direction before we did the last pit stop. Just need to hold off Joey Miller, and I'll get myself my first guitar.
That'd be a great trophy to have on your mantle, I'm sure, and we're excited for you, and hopefully that Evernham Motorsports can be in victory lane here shortly. Good luck to you, and keep your head looking forward.
Good luck in Knoxville as well.
Thank you very much. Hopefully I'll be talking to you again soon.
Great, and also good luck in them Knoxville Nationals this weekend.
Thank you very much.
Aaron Crocker will fly out of here on an Evernham Motorsports plane right to Knoxville, Iowa. You can see that live tonight on Speed Channel. Ralph Shaheen will have the call with Brad Doty as well, and that is certainly something that I want to be watching here tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern on Speed Channel. One of the greatest races in America. I've been there before and saw Danny Lasowski win the Dude just a few years ago. It is spectacular, and you can see it tonight on Speed. Now, one point I want to bring up, Danny, is something that is building in drama here. With Frank Kimmel going out with engine problems, that sets up a good scenario for Joey Miller. Second in points. We saw earlier today, we showed you the highlights from 1 week ago at Lake Erie. We said maybe his title hope's done because he had mechanical failure there, but now he's top 3. Frank Kimmel's out of this race, a DNF. Joey Miller's going to gain a lot of points, and he is going to be back in this championship hunt if he finishes well. Look at this, 365 markers coming into this race behind Kimmel.
If I'm Joey Miller, I'm saying, man, it couldn't have happened any better. Now Joey has to be sure and finish this race, though.
Yeah.
Not only is Frank out, but it's not over till it's over, as we know. Joey has to finish here today.
Now, here's something, you bring up a very good point. Joey told me, hey, I'm probably out of the title hunt, 1 lap to go before we go green. He says, I'm just going for the win. But now, his crew, I'm sure, has told him Frank Kimmel's out of the race. Now, what is he thinking?
You're exactly right. I mean, this happened once. This could happen again. He's got Joe Ryan power underneath them hoods. He's never, ever not finished a race. He's got great engines, but it could happen again. You know, we try things, and you just don't ever know. So you got to think positive. He has to finish this race here today.
A phenomenal driver development program for Hagen's Racing with Joey Miller from the Country Joe Home Stable out of Minnesota. Third in this race behind Ken Weaver. That's the view outside of the 1-800-4A phone number 20. You see the 08 car for Bill Ebersol on the inside. He is a lap down, trying to get one of his laps back. Andy Belmont in the Booty Beer number 1 on the inside as well. Andy Belmont, surprisingly, only with 1 top 10 finish this year. Right now, Andy running in the 15th spot.
Yep, too bad, but he's got Barry Owens helping him. He just moved that shop to Charlotte, and things are looking better for him, so he's excited about this year.
Here we go, just in front of Andy Belmont is Darrell Basham. Remember, they're laps down here on the inside. Actually, Andy Belmont 3 laps down in the 15th spot, and here we go, green again.
Joey Miller getting a good run there, looking to the bottom side, but don't have quite what it takes to drive down the bottom. Smart move.
43 laps to go. Joey Miller has lost his spots in the pits today. Not on the racetrack, but just as he did before. The last time he lost spots to Ken Weaver, he passed him on the first lap green again, and here he comes.
Wow, he drives right down to the bottom. It's so important, again, to get down to the bottom of this racetrack and stand on the throttle. Look at that. He just slingshots off the corner.
Every time a car gets behind Ken Weaver's number 20, kind of takes the air off that back spoiler, and he gets a little bit loose.
Yes, he does, and unfortunate, that's not a good feeling, especially when you're on the outside like Ken is up there in that second group. Not want to get loose, and Ken's getting smarter, and he's a smart race car driver. He has to finish this race. He can have a top 5 finish.
Trouble for Mike Garrity again on the racetrack with 42 to go. Slams into the turn 2 wall to bring out the 6th caution of the day.
Wow, unfortunate. Mike was in 10th position. He spun out earlier. He moved back up into 10th position, and man, looks like a little bit more of that race car's used up. Not sure it'll be out there to run quite as strong as it did before.
I can't believe he was 10th.
Yes.
With all that damage.
He got back out there. Eddie Sharp, veteran of lots of race series, put that car back together and put him back up in contention, but he just spun again. So unfortunately, his day may be a little bit short here today.
He'll obviously come down pit road. We'll check out what happened to Garrity on the track. Take a look at that black car in the middle of your screen. A little bump maybe by McCumbee.
Yeah, looks like he got a little high, slipped up the corner. McCumbee saw the bottom open up, and maybe Mike Garrity wanted to pull her back down coming off that corner.
Another view.
Unfortunately, to keep it from spinning. You see McCumbee down. It looks like he just got loose by itself. Would you say that?
McCumbee definitely didn't play a bumper on him. Garrity with that spoiler wrecked up in the back of the pack. Here's an onboard view.
Yep.
He just went around.
Yep. Just again, you get up on the high side here. No grip.
Did you check out Mark Gibson and the Williams Brothers Lumber number 59? Just missing him. Woo! Don?
I just wanted to add on that 4. That's been a challenging year for everyone there. Garrity's had some good runs at Pocono and Daytona, 5th there. But crew chief Eddie Sharp has said we'll have 7 different drivers in that car before the year is done. In fact, Bob Strait, the veteran, comes out of retirement to run the Springfield Mile Dirt next weekend. What a cool weekend. Michigan International Speedway on Friday and the Springfield Mile Dirt 2 days later on Sunday. Here's some news. Stephen Wallace will return to the cockpit. Rusty Wallace's kid at Chicagoland in that hand-screw number 4 car. So challenging year for those guys, but I think they've handled it quite well overall.
Garrity falling back to the 12th spot now. Want to say happy birthday. You heard Dan Partis mention Eddie Sharp, his crew chief. 41st birthday today for Eddie Sharp. So a happy birthday, or actually really not a happy birthday for him today. A lot of action coming up for the ARCA REMAX Series, and Dodd talked about this. A unique weekend next weekend. We go to Michigan International Speedway, live on Speed Channel, Friday night, 5 p.m. Then on Sunday, they go on the dirt to Springfield, Illinois. A busy weekend for the ARCA boys and girls.
Great, diverse schedule. I tell you, that's what's so great about ARCA. We run on the dirt, we run on the super speedways, we run on the short tracks, and sometimes they run on the road races. But it's a great series, and look at that. You get a little bit of every action.
End up the season at the Talladega Super Speedway in Alabama. That also will be on Speed Channel. You see Jeff Harrison in the BOSpoker.net car, the 40 car. He's having a pretty good run out here today in the 10th spot, 1 lap down.
Great run for that 40 car. They worked hard to practice to get it dialed in, and they got it hooked up now.
You see Bill Eversole, the first car, a lap down, lined up on the inside. Eversole running in the 13th spot. Here we go. Green, Crocker's on the gas again, and now she's got a rear view mirror filled with Joey Miller.
See Joey able to get right down on the bottom there, Bob, and that's so important here. Get a good run down the backstretch, but not enough to get by.
Joey Miller, 19 years old. One of the up-and-coming shoes here in racing. Plenty of NASCAR teams looking at him. He's got 2 wins already on this season, and he is hot on Crocker's tails. One of the most coveted drivers for the Ray Evernham staff right now. Everybody's got their eyes on Aaron Crocker, but here comes Joey Miller saying, hey, I can get the job done too.
He wants this race. Again, he has to be so careful, though, because Frank Kimmel's out of this race. It could be a big gain for him in the points championship, so he has to use his head, and I'm sure his crew chief and his owner are talking to him in his ear.
They want to mention Danny O'Quinn, the Rouse development driver, is up to the 3rd spot. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, he, Reagan, and Eric Darnell all in this race will be at the Darlington Raceway testing and trying out for a Craftsman Truck Series ride for Rouse Racing.
M3 drivers again doing a great job here today. All 3 of them in the top 10. Of course, David Reagan knocked out earlier, but they all have got a lot of talent.
Hey, for all you Chad McCumbee fans, and there's a lot of them because he played Dale Jr. in that 3 movie on network TV. He has actually fallen back to the 9th spot, so having some trouble is Chad McCumbee.
There you see O'Quinn and Darnell just single file. They need to stay single file and catch them leaders if they want to be in contention to win this thing. Again, if they get battling back there, that's not a good sign, but they're doing the right thing right now.
Now here's something interesting. 36 to go. Danny O'Quinn and Eric Darnell, as we mentioned, both battling for that Craftsman Truck Series ride for Rouse Racing. Will they work together to try to get up front, or will they try to best each other and maybe try to prove to Jack they're the better driver?
I think I'd work together till about 2 to go. Then, no longer my friend.
Johnny Leonard having a heck of a run out here.
6th place, great run for Johnny.
And Aaron Crocker just turned her fastest lap of the race 2 laps ago. A 30.6, that is awful quick.
Great run. Again, they made some adjustments on that car, so hopefully that car's coming in.
Chad McCumbee and Jason Jarrett. Jason Jarrett very hot inside that race car. We saw bags of ice going down into the cockpit. It is a hot, sweltering hot day here in Nashville, and he's feeling the effects of that inside the race car. But his crew chief, the normal driver of that car, Billy Venturini, saying, get up on the wheel, boy. We need another top 10 finish.
That's right. You got 35 laps to worry about it being hot because you got 34 to go. So important. They put stuff underneath the seats of these race cars, asbestos, to keep the heat down. We put vents, blowers in these cars to blow air on these drivers to make them cool. But sometimes you just can't do enough in this 104-degree heat index here today at Nashville.
Jason Jarrett, the last car on the lead lap, running in the 9th spot. McCumbee now up to 8th. But that girl is in the lead right now with 33 to go. Aaron Crocker, Ray Evernham's driver, I am sure he is watching up in Watkins Glen today. His driver, Casey Kane, qualified 2nd for the NASCAR Busch Series race. Good battles heating up all over the racetrack here at the Nashville Super Speedway. Hello, everybody. I'm Bob Dillner. Dan Pardis joins me in the booth here. Don Radaba and Wendy Venturini on pit road. 29 to go. That is on board. Looking out the back of Johnny Leonard's car. He's in 7th spot. Right now, he's battling with Chad McCumbee, trying to keep him behind him. But just in front of them, the 35 car of David Odell, having a phenomenal run here, really showing his stuff at Lanier earlier this year, skipping high school graduation, and then coming here and having a dynamite run as well.
Great run for that cat. I tell you, he's done what he needed to do here today, kept his nose clean. You know, he just needs to be there at the end. 28 laps to go. Again, it'd be a great, great honor to finish top 5 here at Nashville in his first ARCA race.
McCumbee trying to pull up and pass Johnny Leonard, who's having his career best run here today as well. Up front, just want to let you know, Aaron Crocker is still your leader with Joey Miller 2nd. Miller now just about a half a second behind Crocker as this duo here with Johnny Leonard and McCumbee go by Brandon up, laps down in that 96 car.
Hey, the 11th car, Chad McCumbee, he's been fighting with people all day. Earlier, Frank Kimmel, inside, outside, bottom side. He's got a good race car. Andy Hillenberg's giving him a good race car here today, so he ought to be proud of himself.
You talk about a kid that really deserves a shot at maybe the upper echelons of NASCAR. Chad McCumbee is one of those kids. Joey Miller as well. You see him 2nd, now pulling up to the back bumper once again and pulling to the inside as Crocker slips on the outside. Miller's got the preferred lane, and he goes into the lead.
Wow, good run for Joey. I tell you, Aaron was some 2/10 quicker, and then we've been watching the clock, and it's been counting backwards. Aaron may have used up the brakes on that race car. You got to be so careful in here at Nashville. You drive down in the corner, you use up too much brake, you heat up the brakes, you heat up the right front tire, you pick up a push, and man, you start going backwards. So she may be slowing down a little bit. I'm sure her spotter's saying, cool your brakes, cool your tires, get in that 7 lap window, and then give it what you got.
David Odell has dropped back a few positions to Johnny Leonard and Chad McCumbee. Odell back to the 8th spot. There is Johnny Leonard once again. A good battle around this racetrack. Unique configuration, cement racetrack. Takes to the heat a lot better than that black asphalt.
Little different setup as we talked about earlier, but if you hit that setup, boy, it's a great thing to race on, I'll tell you that.
They go around the 79 of Tim Turner and the 6 of Dana White.
A lot going on with Johnny Leonard. As you talked, he's going to do some Craftsman truck races, and next year a full schedule. You know, that to come out of a race like that builds momentum, especially as a driver. It gives you confidence. It gives the team confidence. And, of course, the new owner where he may be going to drive for it gives him a little bit of confidence that he does have a guy behind the wheel that's not afraid to turn it.
And I'm sure he'll be sticking around here at the Nashville Super Speedway because the Craftsman Truck Series coming up later this evening actually, on Speed Channel. 5 o'clock here on Speed, the Craftsman Truck Series. Dennis Setzer on the hot streak. Wendy Venturini, who's part of our ARCA REMAX Series broadcast, will also be part of the Speed Channel Craftsman Truck Series broadcast in just a little while here on Speed. 23 laps to go. Johnny Leonard stretching out his advantage over Chad McCumbee. McCumbie's car has just not looked as good here in the late going as it did early on.
No, it don't. Possibly it gets in the center of the corner and scoots that nose a little bit. Need to get back after that gas, but again, he's having a great run here today. Not as fast as he'd like to be, but hopefully he'll have a good top 10 finish.
Let's take a look at this 98 car for Aaron Crocker. We had a report that there's possible tire smoke brewing from underneath that car. Don't see anything really in turn number 4 there as she heads down the front stretch. But that's something we're going to keep an eye on, Wendy Venturini.
Aaron Crocker just barely brushed the wall in turn 1. She did have a little bit of brush with the wall, and that's why they were looking at her car for tire smoke. But Sammy Johns, who is spotting up there, says nope, no tire smoke on the 98 car. He's just reminding her, roll in the middle, drive it hard off.
She finished second at Kentucky earlier this year, 12th here at Nashville after winning the pole. Had a run-in with Chad Blunt late in the race while going for the lead, but that car is not looking as good now as it did just a few laps ago. She's skating up in the corner.
No, you're right, and we heat the brakes up, we heat the right front tire up, and it looks like she's picking up a little bit of push in the corner, unfortunately. Maya got a little loose off the corner and coming off and bounced off the right side, but it looks like it appears that the car's not hurt and she should be okay. What we need right now is some caution that would help her.
Here comes McCumbee looking to the inside of Johnny Leonard, but 7/10 slower for Aaron Crocker behind Joey Miller. She is almost 3 seconds back now. Now she may be in jeopardy of losing the 3rd spot to Eric Darnell before the end of this one. Darnell just about 4 seconds behind her.
Yep, unfortunately she's got to take care of that race car. Drive it in easy, get back in the center, just like Wendy had talked about, back into gas. That's what she's going to have to focus on. I'm sure they're talking to her.
Johnny Leonard's another one of those guys like Ken Weaver who just got into the racing thing just a couple of years ago, came into the ARCA REMAX series last year. He is a roofer out of Florida. In fact, he likes to call his team the affordable racing team, and I joke about that because there's nothing affordable in racing.
You're exactly right, Bob. There is no affordable racing. My son races quarter midgets. It starts from there, and it just keeps going. It escalates. Matters how fast you want to go.
That's because his roofing business in Florida is called the Affordable Roofing Company.
Of course, there's a lot of roofs in Florida right now that need repairing, and there's a good business to be had down there in Florida to put roofs on. I know that.
Spoken very well by our Florida native Dan Partis here up in the booth with me here today. Don't go away, folks. Buckle up for your bridges. 133 of 151. Just less than 20 laps to go here at Nashville. Under yellow flag conditions here at Nashville again, Aaron Crocker on pit road. Wendy?
Just a few short laps to go. Aaron Crocker and the team decided to come down pit road, put 4 fresh tires on this car. She did have a little bit of a fender rub. There wasn't tire smoke from that right front fender damage. She did get into turn 1, just barely brushed the wall. The team checked out and pulled out the fender by hand, and she is away. Don?
Well, the 11 car of Chad McCumbee wasn't all that happy with the handle on the race car. Didn't like the last set of tires. And since they're still on the lead lap, but way down in the order on that lead lap, they thought, whoa, not trying to back up that car. And the jack came down. Not a good stop for the 11 car. Yeah, ran over the hose and had to back the car up. So still trying to get those right side tires on the fast track car. Not a fast pit stop for these guys, but nothing to lose if they can stay on the lead lap.
Yeah, nothing to lose for that Sea-Watch number 11 because there are only 9 cars on the lead lap. So now he and Aaron Crocker go to the rear of that little pool right there. So they'll start 8th and 9th with, about less than 20 laps to go. Fresh rubber, how much of a difference will that make?
It's important. It will help. It helps cars about 2 or 3 tenths of a second, especially once we get 10 to 15 laps on the car. So they have to be aggressive at the start to keep up with them leaders and move through the field.
Here's why we are under caution. You see Bill Eversole, the former Rookie of the Year in ARCA, on pit road, and he had some trouble on the racetrack. Actually, that's a look out front of Andy Belmont's car. You see all the smoke in front of him. That was the smoke from Bill Eversole, who might have let one grenade here at Nashville. He came down pit road, and they look like they are done for the day with that hardcore team.
Yep, use that motor up, just lost an engine again. Good opportunity to blow a motor right down the front stretch there and get down on the bottom of the racetrack. Bill did a great job of getting off the racetrack and not oiling it.
Joey Miller, now your leader. He led early here, Aaron Crocker, and he have been duking it out on this racetrack. Crocker now back in the 8th spot. Can she make it back up front? That is the question now, and it certainly draws up a lot of drama here as we go into the final stages of this 151-lap race for the ARCA REMAX Series here at Nashville. Try Joey Miller on the radio, Danny.
Joey Miller, Dan Partis, Bob Dillner in the speed booth. You copy?
I do.
Hey, buddy, looks like that car's really glued to the racetrack. Man, you feeling good out there? You looking good? Anything wrong? You need some water, ice, what?
Oh, I don't have anything. It's pretty, car's handling pretty good, but we got one to go here, so I'd like to talk to you, but I think I might try to do my job again. So I'll talk to you guys at victory lane.
10-4, Joey, one other question for you. It's Bob Dillner. Aaron Crocker's got fresh rubber. How worried are you that she's going to come back through the field?
I feel just fine. No worries here.
Sounds like a confident race car driver.
That's a good thing. I tell you though, his car's been flawless, and he's been good on old tires too. So I don't think he's too worried about it. And again, if she gets to him, it's one thing, but she's got to get around him.
Here's something interesting that we need to point out. Our coordinating producer Frank Wilson pointed this out to us. The guy in 3rd was very fast, but also Danny O'Quinn has been very fast in this race. Do they have a shot now with the field bunched up at going after this win?
Well, I tell you, we got a lot of good race cars, and they're all within 3 or 4 tenths of a second. So it's going to get real interesting here at the end. We've got some good guys. We've got the 9 cars on the lead lap, so we could get real good racing here today in Nashville.
Darnell is in the 39 car. The 13, Johnny Leonard, running 4th now. A phenomenal run for him. The 35 just beyond there. That's the orange car for David Odell. And then you see, I believe that's Aaron Crocker. Yes, Aaron Crocker behind there. Danny O'Quinn, Jason Jarrett, and Chad McCumbee round out the top 9 guys on the lead lap here. Here we go on board with Ken Weaver starting 2nd on the restart. Good, but not good enough to catch Joey Miller. But here comes Darnell, the former competitor on NASCAR's Midwest and Southeast Series. Won some races there last year. Did oh so well. Captured the eye of Jack Roush. This girl in that red number 98 captured the eye of Ray Evernham. And she is marching through the field, going past David Odell with fresh rubber.
I tell you, that is a confidence builder as a race car driver to have fresh tires on your race car with 10 laps to go. Your spotter hollering in your ear, hey, it's time to go. You got great race tires there. You got a good race car. You could win this race.
And this is exactly what she did at Pocono. Came in late. She goes for 4th, going to the inside of Johnny Leonard. But she got fresh rubber at the end of the race at Pocono. It came on strong, passing people on the outside to move up to 3rd.
Fresh tires is everything. I tell you, there's nothing better to have fresh tires on a race car. And I tell you, Joey Miller, I'm sure his spotter's saying, dude, you got to keep digging, get every lap just as strong as you can.
Trouble. Dana White in the Carolina SteelSource.com car spins on the racetrack after contact with the wall.
This is not what Joey Miller wanted to see this late in the race.
But this is exactly what Aaron Crocker wanted to see.
Oh, you know it. I tell you, Aaron's sitting back there in 4th right now on the restart. It's going to be a single file restart. We're within a 10-lap window, 10 laps to go or less. And ARCA REMAX racing, we go single file, so she's going to be right where she wants to be.
Let's find out what happened to Dana White. Oh, just broke loose on him.
Yep, just turned it, no help. Did that all by himself. Possibly late in the race. Not sure if he put tires on that car earlier, and the track gets a little slick here at Nashville.
Started racing 6 years ago at the Lowe's Motor Speedway Summer Shootout in Legends cars. You can see the view out in front of the Booty Beer car there, but Dana White trying to get that car fired and off the racetrack.
Looks like he's all right, back underway. We'll pull down pit row and get some service and maybe try to ride around for the last few laps and complete this race.
All right, what do you think? Aaron Crocker running 5th, Joey Miller 1st. Don't think that Ken Weaver, Eric Darnell, Johnny Leonard has anything for Joey Miller. They are the cars in between the 9 and the 98. Can Crocker do it in a limited amount of time?
I tell you, it's going to be tough. Erin's really got to work traffic really hard, which she's rather well at. In the world of outlaws, you know how important it is to get through traffic. She's proven that she can get through traffic, so I think she's contention to win this thing. If I was a betting man, I'd bet on Erin.
You heard it, folks.
That's
the
just
money's going
my
on
opinion.
Erin here from Danny Pardes, but I don't know. Joey Miller looks awfully tough here. He is going to get some coaching from Kevin Sawinski, who knows how to keep people behind him. Did so for years in the ASA series. Now he is Joey Miller's coach here in the ARCA REMAX series. But phenomenal runs today. Ken Weaver looking for his best ever finish. In second right now, Eric Darnell. In 2 starts this year, he has 2 top 5 finishes, looking for a 3rd straight, the hat trick. Johnny Leonard looking for his best ever run. Johnny Leonard.